If you're joining the United States Army or looking to know more about basic training, or you just became a recruiter, well, you've come to the best channel here on YouTube, but you be the judge. Maybe you're struggling, confused, and simply just looking for the most up-to-date and, more importantly, accurate information. Now, I'm pretty detailed, so please bear with me. Real quick, if you don't know who I am, my name is TEAM SWARTZ, a full-time recruiter here with the New York Army National Guard by day, conveniently located here in New York City, but on my free time, I come on here to help thousands of people just like you every single day make better decisions throughout their joining process, get better prepared both mentally and physically for Army basic training, recruiting, and so much more. Now, I have over 24 years of service with over 20 years of recruiting experience, and I am drill sergeant qualified. Now, real quick disclaimer, this channel is a personal channel and doesn't reflect the official views, opinions, nor is it supported, endorsed, or sponsored by the Department of Defense, the United States Army, the Army National Guard, or any other government entity for that matter. My videos represent me, myself, and I, based on my own experiences, observations, my personal opinions, and thoughts. With that being said, this is the biggest advantage that you have here on this channel is that I have access to all the updates, current guidance, and I have all the right people at the right places to address your most desired questions and concerns. Now, I have a ton of experience and knowledge to share with you, but I don't know everything, and I promise you that I have enough humility to let you know when I don't know something, and I will be more than happy to get to you the correct response. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ or email me at teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. Now, my mission is to help you join for your reasons and your reasons alone based on accurate and up-to-date information. Now, honestly, I don't care which component of the Army that you join or which U.S. military branch that you join, just as long as that you join if you think it's a great option for you, of course. Now, I want you to make the best decision for you because you only have one life to live, and I want you to live your best life. This is not a decision to take lightly, so please do your homework, do your research, and make a well-informed decision. So the million-dollar question is, why are you here? Now, I honestly believe that you're not here by mistake. So if this is you, please hit subscribe, click the bell icon, turn on all the notifications so that you don't miss anything. That way, you will be notified when I go live, post new videos, and post updates. However, if you're new here, welcome, and comment down below which state you are tuning in from. And if you're one of my loyal TEAM SWARTZ squad members, you know the deal. Drop that hashtag TEAM SWARTZ down below. Now, get your comments and questions and concerns in the chat box as soon as possible because I respond to your comments in order as I receive them, working from the oldest to the most recent comments. Now, I don't skip anyone on purpose, and if I do, just type, I think my comment was skipped respectfully, and I'll scroll back up and look for it. And after all, I am human, but do keep in mind that I do have some keywords and phrases blocked for various reasons that may cause your comment not to be hidden and not be visible by me. If I'm not moving fast enough through the comments, feel free to super chat me any amount for me to immediately and directly respond to your commented question or concern. When I do receive a super chat, super thanks, super sticker, or any other paid channel member on my page, after I finish my latest comment, I will scroll down to your latest paid super chat or whatever and immediately address your paid comment. Now, understand, I do this as a hobby and I don't do this as my job. So please be respectful to me and others within the stream, or you will be blocked. Thanks for watching, and here we go. Let's go. Now you can hear me, right? Can you hear me now? Here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the TEAM SWARTZ channel. This is the Recruiting Ain't Easy podcast. My name is Lewis.
This is a personal page, and I'm here to help you guys get enlisted and to prepare for basic training. So, without further ado, we are going to get started here right now, starting with Justice with the wow. Don't know exactly how you mean by that, but all right. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very much. We got I edits with the he's back and the hashtag Team Swords salute. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. We got my longtime follower, Luis Rodriguez, with the hashtag Team Swartz as well, saying, hope all is well. Drop it in the show support. Working late. We'll watch tomorrow. Question: an Army veteran I work with told me about a hack to slim before MEP, something about Bengay and plastic. No, it's not Bengay. It's hemorrhoid cream. What is it called? Preparation H. Now, I'm not sure about Bengay, but the old adage for the military when trying to slim your waist, it's preparation H and saran wrap the night before in a bottle of, I think it's magnesium citrate, I think it is. You will be kissing the toilet bowl all night long, but yeah, that's a very harsh way of doing it, but yeah, could work. Wrap up too slim before tape is bullshit right now. It works. It takes off anywhere from a half an inch to 2 inches, depending how big you are. And it says, looking forward to that chat about some info on the New York Army National Guard. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it as well. Kim G says, hashtag Team Swartz. He made it to basic training and he's doing well, but he did get put onto a profile for stepping in a hole while running and hurting his knee. He said he tried to continue, but his drill sergeant saw him limping. Oh, that sucks. Talked to him on Sunday and he said that it's doing better. And is this a common injury? It's happened about 6 days ago. Also, how does he HRAP work? His recruiter brought it up, but didn't really explain how he could do it. All right. So first question: is it a common injury? Yes. To twist your ankle or bust your knee on a run by stepping in a hole. Yes, it is very, very possible. I've done it myself, but due to my martial arts background, I kind of know how to tuck and roll and kind of go with it. True story. There I was, basic training or AIT. AIT. It was at Fort Jackson. I was in the middle of the formation, and same thing with me. Stepped in a hole, my ankle rolled, but I just went with it. Went head over heels, like went over my shoulder, kind of like a somersault type thing that they teach you in class. Didn't even miss a beat. Rolled, did like a combat roll, stood right back up. What's up? And they're like, "Did you just do what I think you just did?" I was like, "Yep." He goes, "I thought so." But hopefully he feels better. And as far as HRAP or Hometown Recruiting Assistant Program, how does it work? I have a whole video on that. I'm going to drop that in the box right here. Coming into the chat box right now as we speak. Let me scroll back up because I think I lost my spot here. But yeah, it's my recommendation is that they do at least 5 days, preferably up to 10. And that way they're not paying back for days that they haven't earned. So for every month that you're on active duty, every for every month that you're on active duty, you earn 2.5 days of leave or vacation time, paid time. And for most people, they're not going to earn enough to cover the days for holiday block leave, which is around the 18th of December through around the 1st of January, plus or minus a few days in either direction. And by working with your recruiter during the day, you could stay at home and they work with the recruiter for a few hours to a day or whatever. And some places do some other things, so they can have that dialogue with their recruiter. But it's that time at home now because holiday block leave is normal time off. The transportation fees will be coming from the soldier, and I explain all that stuff in the video. So don't try to be nice and get that for him. Allow the training site to purchase the traveling expenses and stuff like that, because if for some reason they change the date or the timing, the government will get their money back, right? So if you purchase it for them and the date changes or the time and they miss that and there's no insurance on it, you'll lose that ticket. or expense. And yeah, so just watch the video, it'll go into more detail, but I appreciate you. Xavier says that he's back and hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning back in, especially since how that my channel is primarily geared towards those who are about to join and about to ship off to basic training. So I appreciate you coming back. And Xavier, now that you're done with training and you're back, let me know what like types of topics do you think that I should add to the channel for those who finish their initial entry training. Appreciate you. Chris G says, is it better to try and join the Navy or the Army? Well, honestly, I don't know anything about the Navy, so I couldn't tell you, but the video I created that would best fit this situation would be the one that's coming into the chat box, which is don't join the US Army until you watch this video first. And in it, I explain to you how to do your research, how to talk to people currently serving or previously served, and things that you need to be aware of prior to deciding or weighing your options on joining. And that could be applied to every branch of service that you're contemplating and joining. And I don't want to say that the Navy is better than the Army or vice versa. It really boils down to your mindset, what's important to you, and what you value as an individual about to join the military. So the way I recently like to ask this question for something like this is, let's just say for hypothetical situation, let's just say that both the Navy and the Army is going to meet your needs, wants, and desires, and there's no difference in either one. Which one do you feel that you gravitate towards for whatever reason, even if it's something as silly as the uniform or what have you? And to me, that would be your answer. But watch that video. It'll go into more detail on how to make an informed decision. And either one is an excellent choice. And good luck on your decision-making process. Pennsylvania Preparedness says tuning in from Pennsylvania. Outstanding. Appreciate you guys. Alex, is there a waiver for double vision? You could get a possible waiver if it was in your past and it's something that's not likely to return. If you currently have double vision, that's going to be a hard pass. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, unfortunately. Do you want me to turn on some music so it's not so boring here? Not that my voice is boring, but I think it is. I can't even find. Oh, here it is. So let's turn down the music to about 25%. And the one I usually have is called Feeding the Ducks. Here we go. I'll just go back up to where I last left off. Pennsylvania Preparedness also says Friday, I am signing my contract, taking the oath for the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. Your videos have helped ease some anxiety for the process. Well, that's what this channel is all about. I created this channel because I knew what it was like for me over 24 years ago, from between the years of 2000 to 2001. It was a very frustrating time, and recruiting was very toxic. And I wanted to, as a recruiter, be able to supply a platform where, even though I do recruit for the Army National Guard, I wanted to be able to give you the information in a way where I'm not persuading you or convincing you one way or another, but to provide the information so that you can make an informed decision for yourself, for your reasons and your reasons alone. Not because I'm saying that the Guard is the next best thing since sliced bread, which it is, but you know, that's my personal preference based on my values and what my interests are. But you be the judge, and hopefully my videos will help you and continue to help you make that decision. So good luck. Xavier says, I'm about a few days away from hearing from my recruiter, see if I can come back. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're coming back into service. Out friggin' standing. Well, good luck to you. And maybe waiver gods forever be in your favor. Chris G says, awesome videos with the hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Michelle says, hashtag Team Swartz question, non-military related, but I am getting ads during the live stream. Anyone else? You should be getting ads because that's what YouTube does. The only way to get around the ads and what I do is I think it's called YouTube Premium. So you pay like a $10, $15 a month extra and you get no ads on YouTube. That's one quick way of getting rid of ads because I hate ads. And when you have YouTube Premium, and I'm not trying to pitch it, I don't get anything out of it if you sign up for YouTube Premium. But what I love about YouTube Premium is I like to learn how to leverage the platform and continue working on my like communication skills, leadership, anything I want to learn on YouTube instead of having my phone on, like when I'm driving to listen to it as like an audio podcast. You can actually download it to your phone and you can close your phone and the video will continue to play even though the screen is off, if that makes sense. So those are the two main reasons why, well, the three main reasons why I like having YouTube Premium. I don't have to watch ads and I can download videos to watch later, especially when I don't have like Wi-Fi or signal. And I can play with it while my phone is not off, but you know what I mean, the screen is off. iEdit says, hit you up already, just a friendly reminder in case you don't remember through the phone you gave me. Oh, yes. All right. Yes, that's right. You did. I'll reach out to you tomorrow after our company meeting. Anakin Skywalker says, Team Swartz, what's up? Will carpal tunnel get me disqualified at MEPS? Yes, unfortunately it will, and hopefully you will qualify for a waiver. JG says, been about 2 weeks, Swartz. Where have you been? Ha 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 ha. My bad. My being late today. The work Wi-Fi sucks. Well, I actually started a few minutes late today, JG, but I was away last week because, or not last week, the week before, because I went to Little Rock, Arkansas. I did a podcast with the Strength Maintenance Training Battalion, which is the home of our recruiting school called PEC, Professional Education Center. And my wife graduated from recruiting school that Friday. So that's why I didn't live stream that week. Last week, I'm not gonna lie, I packed up the other location I had for my makeshift studio, the other background before, you know, the other one with the tree and the light. So yeah, so I didn't have anything set up last week and I got out of work late and I didn't feel like stressing about it. So I was like, you know, I'll just live stream next week, and here we are. So miss you guys too. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Alex says, I did Corps and ultimately dude go Army. I think he meant Marine Corps. JG says, how long does it take for an SF 180 to come back? It really depends on the branch of service and how fast they are with getting that back. Anywhere from a week or two to sometimes 2 months. And it also depends on the branch of service too. Alex, it's now currently from brain cysts. Huh? I scroll back up to see your other comment, but I'm not sure what that means. If you had another comment attached to this or right before this or right after this, I'm not following what do brain cysts have to do with anything? I'm confused. Sorry, man. Appreciate you though. Oh, I see. The double vision is currently from cysts. Oh, so you would have to get the cysts removed. And after say about eight weeks to 6 months, and then as long as the cysts don't come back and you don't have those issues for probably 6 to 12 months, then I would say you could probably be eligible for a waiver. Sanzi says, can we directly try joining the Army without a GD or high school diploma with 48 or more college credits from learning Team Swords? Yes. I did a video here for those that doesn't know what this person is talking about. So you can join the Army without a high school diploma or GED, providing that you can earn 15 or more college credits. What this video is going to break down for you is through Sophia at $99 for the month, you can take about 5 of their classes, which will equate to about 15 credits or more. And then you'll need to find a college to convert those credits into college credits. So Sophia is accredited by the American Council of Education, ACE. So any college that accepts ACE credits can convert them. Some colleges charge you less, some colleges will charge you more. Now, in the video, at the time of the recording, the Florida State College at Jacksonville would do it for you at a $25 enrollment fee or registration fee, and then $5.80 per transcript. Allegedly, in recent history, I've come to learn that, believe it or not, recruiters were falsifying Sophia transcripts. So now this particular college is no longer accepting Sophia transcripts from Sophia to convert into college credits. So now you got to find another college. So once I find a college that's reasonably priced, like the Florida State College at Jacksonville, then I will put it in a pinned comment. But any college anywhere can convert those into college credits. So in the description are courses that I recommend that are multiple choice, that are relatively easy with ChatGPT or whatever to, you know, find the answers or whatever, so that you can expedite that process and then cancel that subscription fee of $99 a month with Sophia, so that you can find a college to convert them. Another one of my applicants used, like here in New York, he used the Excelsior College, but they charged him $500 to convert them into official college transcripts. So again, it's going to be dependent on the college and how much they charge. Some are more expensive than others. So yeah, but more to follow on a new location. But again, any community college local in your area would be able to convert those into college credits. The variable in this is how much would they charge to do so. But the video explains it. Xavier says, part 2, that was in 2022 when I went through that, so that's all new experience. Absolutely. Sierra Johnson says, still waiting for my release from the Navy. Sierra, are you Navy Reserve or active duty? Or are you in the delayed entry program for the Navy? Which one of those 3 things fits your situation? JG says, those lives that don't have ads are demonetized. Not sure. Sky Hutton says, what should I do to train for the Army, for Army basic training? I did watch your videos on this, but is there any tips further than that? I'm not sure which video that you saw, but this is the one I usually send on how to prepare for basic training. And that's pretty much the golden nuggets to what I want you to focus on before shipping out to Army basic training. And then obviously watching videos on basic training to have a visual and audio on what to expect at basic training. In my basic training mini series, minus the COVID references, is this here. Pennsylvania Preparedness says, do people who go through the future, I think you mean the future soldier preparatory course, get looked down on from trainees or other recruits? No, with only one exception. Okay, well, only one exception. No one looks down on anybody who does the 09 MITE program, because I think that's what you're talking about, the future soldier preparatory course, whether it's to improve your ASVAB scores or to lose your body fat, okay? And stay tuned for a video. I'm not going to say it here because I want it to be my dedicated video coming out next week. My prediction about the 09 MITE program. But with that being said, no one views you in any negative connotation by you going through that program. The only time that they're going to have an issue with you going through that program or not is by you not taking the 09 MITE program seriously and not giving 100% of your effort, in the sense that Like the Army is literally paying you to learn how to pass the ASVAB and or lose body fat. So understand that when you go through this program, you're an unqualified applicant, unqualified soldier. The intent of this program is that we've identified that the school system is failing the students, and that's why they can't pass the ASVAB. And people are more lazy now than ever in the history of the United States. So that's why we're investing a lot of money to get people to pass the ASVAB and or to lose body fat. The problem is the majority, based on conversations I've had of people that have attended the program, the problem is the people who drop out or quit or don't pass the 0-9 MITE program, which isn't really passing. It's the ones that, if they don't pass or if they get kicked out for whatever reason or opt out, is because they're not putting forth effort. And I think that the primary reason or concern for these people is because their recruiters failed them in the sense that they didn't explain to them in the way that I'm about to share with you, right? If you're going through and this is for anyone who's considering the 0-9 MITE program, and if you are able to get into it, it is a phenomenal program. Just go in there with the right mindset and the correct expectations. And that's what's happening is people are going there with an expectation that they're going to increase their test scores, they're going to qualify for more options. And in their mind, they feel like, oh, the world is going to be my oyster. I'm going to be able to ask for whatever I want, and it's going to be awesome. And that is the wrong mindset to have when going through this program. So what you should expect is the worst, meaning that treat this opportunity as a way to get your foot in the door to be able to join the military, not to get exactly what you want. You are an unqualified individual that either lacks self-discipline, knowledge, or effort in your day-to-day life to pass the ASVAB and or your body fat standards. So that means that we're making an exception to have you tentatively sign your contract to go through this program. And as long as you can successfully pass it, move on at the needs of the Army. The only person that will have more say-so on job opportunities is if they're only going through the body fat composition part, because they're actually signing for a specific MOS. So what I'm sharing with you is more geared towards those who are specifically signing for the ASVAB improvement portion of the 0-9 MITE program. And they need to know and be expected to be offered MOSs or opportunities that is not going to be part of their desired list of jobs or opportunities. So think of it as you getting your foot in the door. You're going to have to settle for whatever they offer you for your initial contract. My recommendation is you do the shortest contract possible, which is 3 or 4 years, unless the MOS is so long that it requires a 6-year contract, but do the minimum. You bite the bullet for a few years, and then at the end of that contract, then you can negotiate for a different MOS that you're actually thrilled to do, either for the time forward or for the remainder of your career. And going through the program is going to not only help you pass it, but it is going to increase your line scores to help you qualify for more opportunities. Now, in my unprofessional, unscientific opinion, if you could have passed it on your own, you would have. Most people have so much going on in their life between work, school, or the combination thereof, or enough distractions to prevent them from putting forth a focused, consistent, daily routine and effort to get you to where you want to be on your own. And that's what this program does. So it's an investment of your future. So hopefully that makes sense. So just get into the program knowing that you're more than likely not going to get what you want. You're going to take the hit for a few years. And then because this program is going to help you qualify for a lot more, it is going to be an investment towards that next contract called a reenlistment or extension. And you're going to negotiate a reclass to a new MOS. So hopefully that makes sense. Angelo says, can you be an officer in the Army with an associate's degree? No, you have to have a 4-year degree, and it's part of OCS, Officer Candidate School Program. Now, the other way that you could go and become an officer is through ROTC. So if you go back to school to earn your bachelor's, to complete your junior and senior year of your 4-year degree, you can sign what we call a simultaneous membership program, or SMP contract, with ROTC, which is a college military science program that by you signing your SMP contract, you're agreeing that at the completion of your 4-year degree, upon graduation, you will commission as a second lieutenant in either the active Army, the Army Reserve, or the Army National Guard. So my recommendation in this situation is possibly join the Army National Guard and start college in the fall, because ROTC has to start in the fall, at least for your last 2 years. It has to start in the fall. And then do the ROTC and then commission from there. That would be my recommendation. Bourbon Bear TV says, I enlisted and am looking to become an officer. I know about the Green to Gold program, but I don't have any degree. A sergeant mentioned something about a sergeant major scholarship. Is that real? Never heard of the sergeant major scholarship, but you cannot do Green to Gold without a 4-year degree. And I wouldn't even count on Green to Gold, because Green to Gold is not leveraged very often, because you got to be the best of the best and have multiple years of like not just good annual evaluations. Like you have to be like the best of the best, like top 2%, right? And it's very, very competitive, and it's rarely used from Green to Gold. So it's going to be through OCS or ROTC for commissioning for most people. Sierra Johnson, you are in the delayed entry program. Still waiting for my release. Oh, gotcha. When is your ship date, Sierra Johnson? Because what they might be doing to help out their numbers, to fluff their numbers, or to skew their recruiting numbers, they may be keeping you on the books until your ship date comes and passes, and then discharge you from the delayed entry program. That's not an uncommon thing, especially now as we're getting closer to the end of our fiscal year, which is September 31st. You're very welcome, Sky Hutton. Jose Pimentel says, how do I get the program of ACAS? I have a CDL and I want to join the reserve. So you can join the Army National Guard or the reserve through the Civilian Acquired Skills program. You just need your CDL license, possibly proof of how many years of experience, and your recruiter will submit that to the training site for motor transport school, and they will evaluate everything and bless off on it. And that's how you get into it. Your recruiter can tell you all about it. It's pretty simple, as long as you have at least a CDL license and 2 years or more of driving experience with that CDL license. Personally, I would say, honestly, this is going to be dependent on what's important to you and what you find value. So for me, if I was active duty, like it sounds like you are, because they're offering you Germany, based on my value system, I would probably go for Germany. A friend of mine, he has a YouTube channel and an Instagram page called Here's the Drill, and he's currently in Germany and he freaking loves it. So you could always go to airborne school at any point in your career. You might not get Germany offered to you again. So if you could do Germany, I would say go for it. I'm looking forward to a future video on it. I hate to say it. It's for the wait. I'm fully ready to go all in 35 in less than a month. Time is about this on my side. I got you. Yeah, man, go for it. You got it. Hell yeah. Angel Omar says, my recruiter told me that the 098 program is closed for the year. Is it true? So Angel Omar, if you're trying to join the Army National Guard, yes, currently the 09 Mite program is closed until further notice. So each component of the Army, whether it's active, reserve, or guard, we are allotted a certain amount of training seats for the 09 Mite program. As of right now, the National Guard is killing it, and we exhausted all of our allocated slots. So it's closed for the Army National Guard. It is still available for the Army Reserve and active Army. So if that's where you're trying to go, then it's an option for you. And it won't reopen until October 1st, if it reopens. Enigma says, do you know anything or anyone about 74 Delta MOS, and what schools do they have available to them or promotion points for that MOS? I don't know, because it doesn't really kind of work like that for active duty. I mean, for National Guard. But yeah, I know plenty of people and put in so many people in the 74 Delta MOS, but not on active duty, of course, because I'm a guard recruiter. But if you want to direct message me some specific questions, I'll reach out to people I put in as a 74 Delta, see if they're okay with me sharing their phone number or their Instagram page or something like that, and you could reach out to them that way. So just direct message me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ, or this link here coming into the chat box. Also linked down below in the description. Michelle, that's for him. JG says 74 Delta has promotion opportunity if you're willing to put be active and with reason, or recon and decon unit, especially with special operations. There you go. Why you say not to do it as a reservist? Because we do it like here in the New York Army National Guard, at least our chemical specialist, our chemical unit rather, the 222 Chemical Company here in Brooklyn, New York, on Fort Hamilton, they do a lot of like civil support type stuff. They keep changing the name over the years, or the acronym, but they get all kinds of crazy certifications and stuff like that. And yeah, they can get all kinds of cool jobs with that training, whether it's reserve or guard. But I'm just curious why you say not as a reservist. Eric Loya, I'm going to come back to you, all right? Because I just got a couple of super chats coming in from a person named Chris. Hey, Chris, first of all, thank you for supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Oh, that's the second part. Oh, wow. All right. I feel bad that you did 2 super chats or 2 messages, but I do appreciate it. Made transient something attack as resolved problem on my record 1 visit, but no diagnosis. They were worried by the symptoms I was stating. I went to cardiologist, neuro. I'm 100% healthy. 23 years old. It was in 2023. I had 10 ER visits and no diagnosis with anything. Turned out to be anxiety. Will I be disqualified for officer or enlistment for infantry in the Army? Symptoms I told them made transient something. Let me ask Perplexity, my AI assistant, what that is. Scenic attack. A TIA, often called a mini stroke, okay, is a temporary episode of neurological dysfunction caused by a brief interruption in the blood flow to the part of the brain, spinal cord, or retina without causing permanent tissue damage or infraction. or infarction. These symptoms of TIA are similar to those of a stroke, such as sudden weakness and numbness on one side of the body, slurred speech, vision problems, or loss of balance, but they typically resolve within minutes to a few hours and always within 24 hours. Caused by the same mechanisms as ischemic strokes, most commonly a blood clot temporarily blocking a vessel to the brain. The blockage resolves quickly, so the symptoms disappear, and there's no lasting brain injury. Okay, that's good. TIA, or is TIA a lifelong illness, or can it be 100% healed? Symptoms, immediate effects, symptoms usually within a minute, hours, and not primarily long-term outlook. So long-term outlook, while immediate effects of TIA are reversible, TIA is a serious warning sign. It indicates a significantly increased risk of a full-blown stroke in the future, especially in days, weeks, and years following a TIA. For example, 1 in 3 people who have a TIA will eventually have a stroke, with about half of those strokes occurring within a year after TIA. The risk of subsequent strokes is highest in the first 48 hours, but remain elevated for years. Can it be healed? That's not good. That's not good at all, man. I didn't have TIA. They told me after the visit that I was fine, but they were worried by the symptoms. I said I'm completely healthy. It was just a bad panic attack. So my recommendation would be, in your unique circumstance, Chris, is to go back to what I would do is I wouldn't go to your primary doctor for this. You might need a referral from your primary doctor, but what I would do is I would go to a specialist that deals with TIAs and that are familiar with your case, or get them familiar with your case, and have them run additional tests and put it on paper that, based on their medical opinion, based on the medical evidence, whatever evaluation that they're going to do and testing on you to figure out if it was a TIA or whatever they need to do to rule out TIA. Put it on paper that, yes, you went to the emergency room 10 times for the same symptoms, and it was not pinpointed until the 10th or 11th one, or whatever the case may be, and confirm that it wasn't TIA and that it was simply an anxiety attack, or whatever you just shared with me, right? Was it anxiety? Yeah, anxiety. And as long as you've been off of anxiety medication for, well, MEPS will say up to 3 years. So you may be waiting for a while, but depending on your unique circumstances, medical documentation, and the ability to obtain that all clear letter as described in this video, MEPS CMO, Chief Medical Officer, will let you know what your minimum waiting period would be before you can join. So based on what I read about TIA, unless you can get it without a doubt confirmed that it was not a TIA, then you're just going to deal with the mild anxiety. Now, definitely watch that video, because I talk about anxiety in the video, and you may have to wait for 3 years. So 2026 would probably be the earliest worst case scenario that you could possibly do the medical exam and request a medical waiver. But source all the records, get the all clear letter like I'm talking about, and just hope for the best. Expect a 3-year wait period, but if it's anything less than that, Merry effing Christmas. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you supporting the channel, and good luck on your medical waiver request. So Eric, 37, trying to enlist active in the Army. Is this a wild idea? Absolutely not. Eric, if you want to be into the Army, like, unlike a civilian company for the military, age is literally just a number. Like, we really honestly don't give enough about your age. Just act like an adult, be a good soldier, do what you need to do to be a good, effective soldier, be willing to learn, be a team player, work together well with others, and just learn how to do your job and do it well, and you will not have an issue. Again, no one cares about the age. All right. I went through Army basic training again as a drill sergeant candidate at 38 years old. So if I can do it again, you can do it. Trust me, you'll be all right. All right. What I would recommend though is to definitely watch this video on how to prepare for basic. All right. And then because you're joining at an older age, I have a video for people like that as well, just like you that are in the same category. And these are my thoughts as an older person joining the United States Army. And you're not too old. Isaac Rogers says, can you talk about the process of switching jobs once actually in the Army? So best case scenario, after about 50% of your contract being complete, if it's a 6-year contract, so about 3 years in, and if you're in a 3-year contract, just wait until the end of your contract. Unless for some reason it'd be like pretty wild if they do it before the end of your contract. But in most cases, after about 3 years, you can try to request to do it in mid-contract if there's a need for it in your state, if you're in the Guard. So at the end of the day, if you're prematurely trying to switch your job before the end of your contract, it is going to be ultimately up to the losing company commander, which is the unit you're currently assigned to at whatever job you have. And if it's not in the same unit, the gaining unit commander is going to have to be willing to accept you and be willing to reclass you to the new MOS that you're looking to switch to. So those two things need to happen. So for most people, you're gonna have to wait until the end of your contract currently to then, once you're under 12 months from your current end date of your current contract, to negotiate reclassing to a new MOS or opportunity and take it from there. And that process would be to talk to your unit leadership, starting with your chain of command, and explain or express to them why you want to switch jobs, and hopefully they'll do it. I have 4 jobs. I started out as a 71 Lima back in 2001. It's now equivalent to a 42 Alpha human resources specialist. I then reclassified at that time as a 21 Foxtrot, which was a crane operator, which is now a 12 November. I forgot what the technical term for that is, but it's basically just a general construction equipment operator, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. And then at some point, I converted from the skill identifier as a recruiting and retention NCO into the MOS as a 79 Tango, which is a recruiting and retention NCO for the Army National Guard. And I also hold the skill identifier as a drill sergeant, which is not an MOS, but it's a duty position with a skill identifier. So 3 MOSs and an additional skill identifier as a drill sergeant. So the world is your oyster. So if you are a hardworking soldier, you become known to be reliable, dependable, hard worker, work well with others. People can count on you to get the work done with or without supervision. And, you know, people like that, they'll take care of you. But if you're going to be a average, mediocre, subpar soldier, then they're not going to want to be willing to help you out, if that makes sense. Sensitive says, which IT field would you suggest after basic training? Do you mean when you get out of the Army? Because when you sign your contract, you're signing for a job. So I'm kind of confused. Are you asking me what MOS or opportunity you should try to get when first joining? Or you mean like at the end of your contract? Because you can't, for the most part, change your job mid-contract for most people. Jose Pimentel, where is your office located? It's in Manhattan, specifically in Harlem. It was in Midtown Manhattan, but that armory is currently closed for renovations. They're putting $3.1 million in renovations in that building. It's going to be epic. And yeah, so, but I live in Brooklyn and I work in Manhattan, but I can go anywhere in the 5 boroughs, and I'm relatively easy to get to from all 5 boroughs. So yeah, I do it by appointment only. So this is my cell phone number, but this is only for those who live in New York City that want to sit down with me, okay? New York City only, okay? Or New York State only. So if you want to sit down with me, I'd be more than happy to help you out. Anakin, I'm going to come back to you because I just got a super chat coming from Canelo that says, "See you soon, sir." See you. Appreciate you. When you say see you soon, like, are you going to call me or text me? But I do look forward to meeting you if we do meet up. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I know I usually use like the podcasting mic, but today I'm using the AirPods. Do you like or dislike the AirPods, guys? Let me know in the chat box real quick. And Nakin Skywalker says, if my sister and I wanted to join, would we get the battle buddy system, even though we're male and female in different MOSs, but would get the same ship date at all? So it would be a possibility that, so if you're going regular Army and maybe reserve, because, well, yeah, so without going into like major detail, if you're going regular Army or reserve, it's a little bit easier to do the battle buddy system. But if you're going guard, then I would suggest that you both get qualified first by completing the ASVAB and the medical, right? Get pre-qualified. And just make sure you guys are shipping out at the same time at the same location. And more than likely, excuse me, because you guys will have the same last name, you'll be in the same company, but obviously you'll be in gender specific barracks. So the females will be in the female floor or the female barracks, and the males will be there. So you'll be in the same, possibly in the same platoon, at the very least the same company, but same building, same location. It would be what you should expect at minimum, as long as you're contracting the same day for the same ship date and you guys don't run into any issues. Loha says, as a 17-year-old preparing to enlist in the Marine Corps, I've been researching career paths and transitions. What are reasons Marines choose to transfer to another branch after completing their contract? There's nothing, in my opinion, majorly wrong with the Marine Corps. I think it's an excellent branch of service. I aspired to be a Marine at one point. The recruiters ruined it for me, but for whatever reason, I'm not in the Marine Corps, so I can't attest to the accuracy of this, but studies have shown and surveys have proven that Marine Corps have the absolute worst retention metrics. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just piss poor leadership, toxic environment. For whatever reason, they transfer to other branches of services, to include mostly the Army. But you never know unless you try it. So I always say that leadership drives the train on people's mindset on whether or not they like their service. So if you have good leadership, hey, awesome. And if you have bad leadership, people don't quit because they don't like the job for the most part. They quit because they don't like their leadership. So just keep that in mind. If you want to be a Marine, then go be a Marine. Find out for yourself. Just be open-minded, give your best, do your best, be your best, and give 200%. If you find that you don't like it, you don't have to be there forever. But I will tell you that the moment you tell them that you might not be re-enlisting or you decide to get out, in my 20 plus years of experience as a recruiter, when I see discharge packets from the Marine Corps, even if they just simply completed their time in the Marine Corps with no issues and they were successful for whatever reason, like, you don't know what this means, but they give them an RE4. An RE4 usually is tied to them doing something negative in their time of service, and an RE4 prevents them from rejoining that branch of service. So the Marine Corps would typically do something like that. And it doesn't make sense to me, but you could have just successfully just completed your time in service. And if you don't want to be in the Marines, it's like they're like a jealous ex-girlfriend. They just don't want you to be with anybody else. So they're like, RE4, we don't want you again. So kind of retarded in my opinion, but yeah, so just a heads up. I'm not saying that to deter you from going to Marine Corps. If that's where your heart lies, then like I said, it doesn't matter what I say or anybody else says. Do it for yourself. Just choose the minimum contract period and test that out and see if you like it. And if you do, great. If you don't, then at least you didn't commit to a lengthy contract, if that makes sense. So good luck to you, Lohas. JG says, in my experience, I wasn't utilized to my fullest potential at the beginning. Like I was tasked out to the motor pool a lot, lost time in my line of work for prep and undersupply, did inventory a lot. Fun part was being the first sergeant and company driver, and protocol dictated they side separately, but they didn't like anyone else driving. Oh, okay, so you're saying while you were a first sergeant in the reserve, that's what you were saying. Hmm. Yeah, so what I tell people all the time is like when you're guard or reserve, there's only so much you could do within your MOS at most units, depending on what your MOS is. Typically, the time you genuinely do your MOS for the most part in guard or reserve is during your annual training in the summertime, right? Unless you're doing specific field training that your unit coordinates, schedules, and plans and executes during Joe weekends. But there's not a whole lot of those, right? So I could see what you're saying as far as like active duty doing that full time. They'll have a lot more experience, of course, and not so much in the guard reserve. So yeah, I could see that point. Yeah, we already talked about that. Isaac Rogers says, I got a waiver from the Army for my cashew allergy. The Air Force denied my waiver. Will my allergy ever be an issue in the service, even though I got a waiver for it? It's not life-threatening. Well, you just answered your own question. So the Air Force denied it. So this is what I even share this in my medical waiver video, right? So just because one branch of service denied you doesn't mean that another branch of service might not approve it. And this is a perfect prime example of what I was sharing in the video. So the Air Force denied you, but the Army approved you. So now that you're in service, at the very least, as long as you stay in the Army, you're never going to have issue about that allergy ever again. If you decide to change branches of service or get out and try to come back in, then you're going to have to reapply for that medical waiver and hope and pray that that same waiver gets approved. So as long as you never get out of the Army, you'll be good to go. Sorry, I didn't click on it, so I just did it now. JG says, I was with a signal unit that was brand new within the battalion, and our company went out company went even active. Our company even went active. All right, I see what you're saying. Understood. This person says, what can you tell me about full-time in the Army National Guard? Full-time opportunities within the Army National Guard are limited. So I'm going to put that out there straight from the jump. I also have a dedicated video that will go into this particular topic in grave detail. It's in the chat box now. It's also linked down below. But what can I tell you about? It's full-time Army, specifically in the Guard or Reserve. And it's active duty. So you get your base pay. If you're eligible for housing allowance, you get that. If you're in a high cost living area like New York City, like I am, you get BAS and COLA. And you got full-time consistent pay. And it's great. I love it. It's I don't have to transport and relocate and uproot my family every 3 or 4 years like you do in active duty. It's, it's like, it's been dubbed the best kept secret. So if you can get into anything full time in the Guard, whether it's state active duty, and eventually you go for the Holy Grail, which is AGR, Active Guard Reserve, as described in the video, then you'll be in there like swimwear. Do your best to be the best of the best and make the best of it, because I love being full time and I like the stability of being in one location and not have to uproot my family and relocate every 2 to 4 years. All right. So, but check out that video. Isaac also says, probably wouldn't be the best to join the Army if you're prone to panic attacks. If you no longer have panic attacks or anxiety issues for 3+ years, then you've overcome that and you should be fine. But just understand, and this is what they're going to weigh into their decision-making process and whether or not they're going to approve your medical waiver request, is your ability to be fully immersed into the military, which is going to stress you and put you in a high stress environment. Like, you will be stressed to your maximum, especially if you ever get deployed. And they don't want to put you in a position where it's going to invoke those emotions and mental hurdles and stuff like that. So James says, is a moral waiver required for 7 speeding tickets or over the past 12 to 15 years? Never high enough speed to require court appearance? If so, how likely is it to be granted given otherwise clean record? So I haven't had to deal with a moral waiver in a surprisingly very long time, probably in a few years. But when it comes to traffic tickets, if it's specifically a traffic ticket, as long as they are settled, they are not factored into a moral waiver at all. So as long as you're settled, fines, fees, and you have a valid driver's license, if you're going for an MOS that requires you to have a valid driver's license, then you're fine. Like, no waiver required. Now, because you have 7, I would have to look into the regulation to see. I mean, you said 12 to 15 years, so it's fine. It's probably like within the last 3 years. Maybe there may be like a specific amount of traffic tickets that would warrant a suitability review and or a waiver. But last time I checked, traffic don't require waivers anymore, and that's been like that for at least 6 to 8 years. JG also says, even volunteered for a duty assignment in Africa for Ebola outbreaks, which was only open to me as a senator for Delta, and got denied even after they offered it and accepted, and then volunteered. Gotcha. Isaac, you're funny, but I do have a video for most things. You know what's funny? I'm friends with a marketing NCO in California. Shout out to Sergeant First Class Riley if he's watching this. And he was expressing to me in the DMs last night on Instagram that he's getting tired of repeating himself multiple times to teach people how to do things that he's doing or whatever. So he's thinking about doing videos. And I said, hence the birth of my channel. I've been recruiting for over 20 years, so I get tired of repeating myself in detail for a lot of these things. For some reason, doing it on YouTube doesn't bother me, but in person, on a daily basis, yeah. So that's why I create videos. I am still very informative when I meet with people, and I'm as informative as they want me to be when I'm in person. But I'll give them videos that will go on deep diving or a deep dive on particular topics. So, but yeah, especially on YouTube, like, I even have quick text. That's how you see me populate all these videos so easily, right? I type in a few letters and it just auto populates the message and I just hit send. So I automate or try to streamline the process of helping people. So like, I get DMs all the time on specific topics like we're doing right here during the live stream. And it's just so much easier instead of having to type everything out every single time or copy and paste from the notepad on the phone. It's just easier just to, here's the video, watch this. Got any questions after that? Let me know. One of my pet peeves though here on the channel, I noticed that's been irking me lately is or not irking me, but like one of my pet peeves is if you're literally on the video that I'm thoroughly explaining on a particular topic and asking me a question I directly address in the video, at some point within the last year, I would say, I just got tired of repeating exactly what I said in the video, and I just say, hey, do me a favor, finish watching the video. If you still have that question, I'll be more than happy to answer anything that you're confused about pertaining to that topic. And 9 out of 10 times, if not every time, I never hear from them again. So I don't know if they actually watched and got the answer, but yeah, man. So yeah. Am I wrong for that? Let me know in the chat box. Let me know. Am I wrong for not typing it out to answer their question instead of having them watch the video? Am I wrong for that? Am I an a-hole for that? Appreciate you. JG also says, that's why I should have gone guard, but Sergeant Powell, a recruiter for Arizona Guard, kept promising no deployment, which I knew was bullshit. Yeah, that's crazy. You know, quick story. My very first recruit, I'll never forget him, Muhammad Abjad. Parents were he was from Pakistan, and his parents were really against him joining me because they wanted him to focus on college because they came here for the American dream and everything. And I was a brand new recruiter. He was my very first recruit, and he was concerned about being deployed. And this was at the height of the Afghanistan and Iraq war. This thought did not last long in my mind, so don't judge me, but I was tempted for a brief hot second to be like, no, you're never going to be deployed because you're going finance. But I stayed true to my values and to why I became a recruiter. And I said to him and his parents that if he does get deployed, because the other aspect of their concern was he didn't want him killing other Muslims. And I assured them that if he were to be deployed, that he would be in the best hands, get the best training, and he would not be killing Muslims. If he was killing anybody, it would be in defense and Muslim extremists. And I could not promise him that he would or would not be deployed overseas, but it's always a possibility. And true story, true statement. He's done with AIT as a 36 Bravo financial management technician. I take him to his unit to conduct a battle handoff, as we refer to it as today. Back then it was just unit introduction, but that's what it is, UN process and all that stuff. And I remember I'm like, good afternoon, Sergeant. I have Private Muhammad with me here. And they asked him, what are you doing 6 months from now? I can't remember if it was 3 months or 6 months. And he says, college. And he looked at me, I looked at him. I put my hand firmly on his shoulder and I said, you know what? So glad I didn't lie to you. Oh man, but he actually enjoyed himself on the deployment and had a very good time, and he loved his experience. He stayed in the Guard for about 6, maybe 10 years. I don't know if he's still in the Guard, but the last time I spoke to him, he had about 10 years in. By then, he did nothing with his finance degree. He was an NYPD officer at the time, and he loved his experience in the Guard. So I really wouldn't worry about the deployments too much for anyone who's worrying about being deployed. Obviously, there's a lot of risks involved. Now, me personally, I've never been deployed, so I can't tell you personally what it's like. And part of me feels like that I have not given back to my country because I have not been deployed. If you want me to talk about my non-deployment, I don't even know what to call this, but my I don't even know how to describe this. You want to know why I've never been deployed? If you want to dedicate a video to that, I'll do it. But yeah, so I get a lot of hate on that, honestly. But if you don't know me, too sad, too bad. Never too old to join. joined, there was a 43-year-old specialist part of the Ranger Battalion. There you go. We got Michael Duncan. Welcome back. Aloha, Team SWARTZ. Appreciate you watching it from Honolulu. Hell yeah. Hawaii is on my bucket list. You know what I would love to do? I would love to go out to the Hawaiian Army National Guard and teach them, like the recruiters, like maybe do like a day's worth of training and talk about YouTube and social media content creation to the recruiters. And I can check my box that I've been to Hawaii. That would be pretty cool. Isaac, I'm gonna come right back to you because I got I think a super chat down here at the bottom from Cinnamon Sky the Jack. Appreciate you supporting the channel. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit to see if maybe you had another comment that you want me to. Here we go. What's the difference between the Marines and the Army, as in like training things that they do, etc.? Well, considering the fact that I've never been in the Marine Corps, I can't tell you definitively what the differences are, but the Marine Corps are amphibious, meaning that they attack by sea and land. And from my ignorant understanding is that they're like the first on ground type of a deal. They're not really utilized as like a sustainment force, whereas the Army is more of a ground force and more of a sustainment force. So yes, we can initially go in somewhere, but it's by land and air, because we actually have a pretty large aviation aviation assets. But other than that, I really couldn't tell you what the main differences are. So sorry, I'm not very knowledgeable on that, honestly, but I should be at this point, right? Kool-Aid says, hello, can I get airborne added to my contract? I'm currently at AIT Eisenhower and I want to go straight after AIT. And how often do I have to jump? If it's not part of your contract, then it's probably not gonna happen. So unless they offer it to you while you're at the training site, you're gonna have to wait until you get to a unit of assignment and ask them how you could, or what you would need to do to get that at some point throughout your time in service. So if it's not part of your contract and it's not being offered to you at the training site at AIT, then it's not going to happen. So wait until you get to your unit, hope and pray that they say yes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Excuse me while I scroll back up to where I last left off. Isaac, my contracted MOS for active duty is 88 Hotel. I leave for basic training next week. Outstanding. Congratulations and good luck in basic training. And Michael Duncan, I'll be right back to you because I did get another super chat coming in from Kool-Aid. Oh yeah, no, we did talk about that. Yeah, I had it right there. Sorry. My bad, your fault. So Michael, back to you. If I join the National Guard with waivers and I want to go full-time Army after my contract, do I need to redo the waivers? If it's a moral waiver, no, you're grandfathered. If it's a medical waiver, possibly. But if it's a direct transfer from the Army National Guard to regular Army, while still in service, then you might not need to. But again, rules like this change on a regular basis. So at the end of your contract, reach out to your local recruiters and find out how that works. But moral waivers, you're good. They still list it, but as long as you have not gotten any new, so if it's a moral waiver, like I said, whatever was approved at the time that you contracted, as long as you don't get any more tickets, to include traffic tickets or any other law violations, if and when you transfer to another branch of service, your grandfather because it's already been approved. You won't need to redo that moral waiver. They still need to list it, but a waiver won't be required. But if you enlisted with whatever moral law violations you had at that time and you get new law violations, then you have to do that waiver all over again, if that makes sense. Michael says, resubmit. Question, if I join the National Guard, got that, we just talked about it. Mawusi Bakovi says, does future soldier preparatory course limit MOS opportunities even if you increase your ASVAB score during the training? So you weren't here earlier, so I'm going to say it again, but I'll abbreviate. I'll keep it brief. All right. So you have to understand that if you're going to join the 09 MITE program, specifically for the ASVAB, you have to understand that it's for the needs of the Army. You are, in every sense of the words, an unqualified applicant and an unqualified soldier when you contract. The intent of the program is to assist you by paying you full-time pay and benefits to learn the necessary material to pass the ASVAB test, thus increasing your line scores to qualify for as many opportunities and MOSs that you possibly can. It is going to be based on the needs of the Army. So you may qualify for 75 jobs, but you may get a list of like 6 jobs that the Army needs. So you have to understand that when you join the Future Soldier Preparatory course through the 09 MITE program for the ASVAB improvement portion of that program, utilize this program as a stepping stone to get your foot in the door. And your mindset should be, I'm going to take whatever they give me. So you take your current line scores that you currently have and you research, and you can use this video that I posted because I have an Excel sheet that we use as recruiters to calculate what job skills you pre-qualify for based on your test results and other things I talk about in that video. But research the MOSs that you're qualified for based on your line scores now, because for the most part, if you don't improve your line scores, that's generally what's going to be possibly offered to you based on what you qualify for. So when you see any one of those options when you're there, because you're only going to get like 5 minutes to decide, and you choose for one of them there. So you may have to settle for something a little less exciting or whatever to bite the bullet just to get and continue your service for your first initial contract. The program, if you do it right, is going to offer you a whole lot of opportunities at the next contract. So at the end of your current contract, whatever job, let's say they said infantry or cook, but you wanted to be a 25 Bravo information technology or IT specialist, and they didn't offer that to you. So you would either choose infantry or cook, right? And then at the end of your current contract, that's when you negotiate changing or reclassing to 25 Bravo information technology specialist. So you take the dub in the beginning, and it's an investment of your future at the next contract. Now, if the stars align and you're actually getting offered what you're looking for, Merry effing Christmas. But understand that you are an unqualified applicant, and this is a way to get into the service as an unqualified individual. It boggles my mind that people, like, for a lack of a better phrase, I kind of get offended when a potential applicant or a soldier downrange at the training site who is ill-informed by their recruiter and have messed up expectations. And that's why we get people that are salty down there, because they didn't go into the program with the awareness that it's based on the needs of the Army, and like mentally put it in your head that you're not going to get what you want. And if you do, great. But at least going into the program with the mindset that you're probably not going to get what you want, and this is just an investment to the next contract, and I want you to sign for the shortest possible time of a contract possible so that you can re-enlist and reclass to the new MOS of choice and your desires at the end of that current contract. So I do get offended when people are like, you're failing 10th grade math and English, and you tell me that you want to be military intelligence or something wild like that, and you want everything on a poo-poo platter, like you want airborne, you want injury, you want this, you want that, and you can't even pass the ASVAB. So have enough humility to understand the program and to get in it with the right mindset and expectations so that you can get your foot in the door, test out the water, see if you like the military in general. You're not stuck in that job for the rest of your career. So by going through the program, it's literally an investment to the next contract where you then can reclass to a new job. As long as you go in there with that expectation and that understanding. So from me to you, it is a phenomenal program for what it is. It's just that people don't understand the circumstances and the situation that they're in, and they go in with the incorrect mindset. So if you decide to go through this program, understand that for the ASVAB, you're not going to get your MOS of choice that you're genuinely looking for, but you are going to get MOS of choice because you are going to get more than one option. It's just the MOS that you're looking and hoping to join as or continue as may not be part of that option. So hopefully by you watching this, you now understand and are aware of it so that you don't get blindsided and jaded because your recruiter didn't fully explain it to you like this. So my personal opinion is it's a phenomenal program because most people either work a job or go to college or the combination thereof, or just don't have the ability to have self-discipline to stay focused and be consistent with their studies every day and study effectively for a period of time to benefit them by passing the ASVAB on their own, either through laziness, lack of discipline, too many distractions, simply lifing. So this program is to pay you with full-time pay and benefits to go into the classroom with a block of instruction in the morning, study hall in the afternoons, and then study on your own at the barracks afterwards with the intent of passing the test within 3 to 6 weeks. At the end of that program, because you're in a structured environment with teachers who are and you're with like-minded individuals, at least for the ones that are there for the right reasons with the right mindset, you're all there to increase your scores. So because you're in this type of environment, you're going to have better results and you're going to have better opportunities at the end of your first contract versus you trying to study on your own through free YouTube videos or books that you can get from the library or through Amazon or what have you. But if you want control over what opportunities and MOSs that will be offered to you and you want to pass the ASVAB on your own, I just posted the ASVAB Ultimate Study Guide, my personal studying tips, testing strategies, and my strong suggestion to use a site called Mometrics, which is a structured program. They have a whole bunch of tests that you can do on there that will break it down to you Barney style, how to get to the correct answer for everything that you got wrong. They have flashcards, videos, things that you can read. And they even have like testing strategies and tips and stuff like that. There's a coupon code part of that as well. So check out that video. I have like 28 free resources, I think, in the description. 18 or 28, I can't remember, but it's a whole bunch of free resources for you to help aid you in your studies. So if you want control over the MOS and opportunities, then pass the test on your own. If you go through the 0-9 Night program, you're now armed with the accurate information and with the correct mindset going into it, so you don't get upset later on. But good luck to you, and I hope that you still pursue it and make the best of that opportunity. Tolo Garcia says, hey, just passed the ASVAB with a 70 and I'm finna to get my physical scheduled by my recruiter. I think that's called MEPS. Is there anything I should prepare for? I'm a male, by the way. All right, cool. So this is my what to expect at MEPS video. It's called The Day at MEPS with tips and tricks on certain aspects of the medical exam and expectations. I do have a small section that will talk about MROAD. Ignore that. That is no longer a thing. it's been replaced with MHS Genesis. So I'm pretty sure you've already heard of it, but MHS Genesis it's kind of like regular civilian doctor stuff, right? So it's online medical records. So MHS Genesis is the system that DoD purchased that allows them the opportunity to view your electronic medical records. So if you want to check out those 2 videos, just understand that if you're trying to hide something like they did like 10 years ago, it's not going to happen 80% of the time. All right, so Anakin Skywalker, by next week, I will be fully up and running and the mic will be better next week. So I apologize for the AirPods. It was either no live streaming this week or just full hua, half of the setup. And yeah, so I appreciate you. Thanks for the feedback. Isaac says, my contract is 3 years, active 4 years, 4-year reserve. I decided to stay active duty instead of, oh, good stuff. Excellent. And Anakin Skywalker says, 119 Charlie, a Bradley crewman, and 68 Whiskey. Totally different trainings because of 19 Charlie's Fort Benning, OSA. I don't know about 68 Whiskey. So it sounds like you're already in because you're using things in past tense. Did you already sign your contract or are you looking to sign your contract? Ugsworm says, I am single father and thinking about joining the military with a PICAT score of a 78. Excellent job. Would there be any jobs with a better chance of me being able to see my son more often? All right, so Bugsworm, if you're talking about Guard or Reserve, you're good to go. It's as little as 2 days a month to be in the Guard or Reserve. And the other 28 days, you live your life to the fullest. As long as you're doing things that are legally, ethically, and morally correct, you can work full-time, part-time, go to school full-time, part-time, with a combination thereof. You can be a full-time dad that entire time, but for those 2 days or so per month and 2 weeks in the summertime, you will put on your Army uniform and do your soldierly duties. Now, I will say, unfortunately, if you're looking to go full-time, full hua in the regular Army, you are ineligible to join the regular Army because you are a single parent. You're not married, so unfortunately, with the Army does not allow single parents to go full-time regular Army. Full transparency, if you were married and eventually got divorced while on active duty, then the Army will deal with it because they've already fully vested in you. Good news is, ironically, you could join the Guard or Reserve and you can apply for limited full-time opportunities within the Guard or Reserve and still be full-time like the regular Army in the reserve component, whether it's Guard or Reserve. I'll post a video for you to check out right here. And then a video that explains the differences. The Guard, Reserve. I talk about the similarities, differences, pros and cons. I'm pretty unbiased in the video, but definitely check that out because that'll tell you the differences and similarities of the 2 components of the Army. But yeah, good luck to you on your decision-making process. JG says, stuck as specialist in E6 slot for Seaburn, 74 Delta, not a first sergeant. Oh, gotcha. Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Kyle Fitness says, headed to Fort Benning in June, 19 kilo. Any tips? For sure, it'll be hot. Yes, it will definitely be hot. All my tips to prepare for basic or OSAT are in this video here, how to prepare for basic training. And when you're doing your job specific training, because I believe you're probably going to be an OSA, not AIT, but just really pay attention for the MOS portion of the training. Take notes if needed, study in the evenings and weekends. And when lights are out in the evening, lights are out. And if it's in OSAT, they're probably going to restrict your phone usage throughout your entire time that you're there, so that won't be much of a problem. But if you're in AIT, and you do have your phones in the evenings and weekends, like a normal AIT, my recommendation is 30 minutes, no more than an hour on the phone and study and go to bed on or before lights out, if that makes sense. Shoot, I just lost my spot. Oh, here we go. Apex. What about RETJ failed the initial year analysis? How's the waiver process? So, if I understand you correctly, you completed your initial entry training, and at some point, your very first UA, you pissed hot in a drug test. Is that about right? If that is the case, unfortunately, there is no waiver authorized for that. Yes, the Army National Guard is a state militia who has both a state mission and a federal mission. When we're not under the direction of the President of the United States for any overseas missions, we are ran by our Commander-in-Chief for the state through the governor of each state in U.S. territory. So each state has a state militia and like an all-volunteer force, which is like the state guard. So like in the New York Army National Guard, we have the New York Army National Guard, which are soldiers that are on part-time pay, part-time status, just like the reserve, where we work 1 weekend per month, 2 weeks out of the year. The state guard try to get together once a month and what have you, but they're not paid. The only time they're ever paid is if they're ever activated to supplement the Army National Guard in their tasks on certain missions. So they're like volunteer firemen for your local town type of thing, but for the Army, if that makes sense. But what a lot of people don't understand about the National Guard, and a lot of that is due to regular Army recruiters or recruiters from other branches of services that have never served a day in the Army National Guard, who don't know what they're talking about, think they know, and they put out bad information. So the Guard is, so every branch of the military, to include the National Guard, gets a portion of federal funding. That federal funding is given to the National Guard Bureau in Washington, D.C. The National Guard Bureau disperses funds to each state and U.S. territory, depending on whether it's a large state, medium state, small state, or territory. That state manages those federal funds to pay soldiers for that 1 weekend per month, because when you drill your 1 weekend a month in your annual training for 2 to 3 weeks in the summertime, any leadership schools, specialty schools, all of that is federal funds. And you earn retirement points just like the reserve and active duty, right? Because that's federal funds. The state receives or earns through like tickets and however they make money, right? But the state accumulates state funds to pay for state activations for weather-related events, natural disasters, state emergencies, short bouts of service to do everything but not limited to filling up sandbags, conducting search and rescue missions, delivering food, water, supplies, personnel, or equipment, maintain law and order. Each state has their things that they do, right? Whether it's tornadoes, hurricanes, forest fires. Here in New York, it was, at least in my 20 years, it was 9/11. Then it was Homeland Security, which is an ongoing thing since 9/11 here in New York City, Joint Task Force Empire Shield. Then COVID came, where we sanitized facilities. We set up and ran testing sites for COVID, vaccination sites for COVID. Then that went away. Then New York became a safe haven for asylum seekers. So the New York Army National Guard was activated for that for a period of time, where we would escort those individuals to and from their rooms, making sure they weren't doing anything they weren't supposed to, making sure they were getting their stipend or whatever they called it to, look for more permanent housing and a job or whatever while they're seeking their asylum and stuff like that. And then that went away. And most recently in the state of New York, if you're not tracking the state corrections officers walked off the job in a strike, and the New York Army National Guard is supplementing that by being there in their place while they're going through that negotiation process for pay raises and whatnot. So those are all state funds. Sometimes they could be federal, like when we went to a few years back, we went to Washington, D.C. When Trump was in office at that time. I forgot what was going on at the time, but yeah, there was like a riot or whatever that was going on over there, or whenever they stormed the Capitol at that time. So that was a federal thing. But yeah, so, and COVID, I think, was federal too. But the Guard is the best of both worlds, right? We get money from the feds and we get state monies. And because we are state and federal, we get state benefits in addition to the federal benefits. So the primary difference between the reserves in all branches versus the National Guard for the Army or the Air National Guard, at least here in New York, each state is specific to college benefits, but here in New York, you get 100% up to your first 4-year degree. And in sometime in the near future, we're going to be increasing that to at least a master's degree as well. Some states offer up to a doctorate degree free of charge through the state. So a reservist doesn't have access to those state benefits. So Guard and everyone else, to include active duty, only have $4,500 through the federal tuition assistance. If you're Guard in part-time, we're paying 100% of your tuition, and you don't even need to touch your federal tuition. You can save that for your master's. So that's the advantage over the reserves. So yeah, but glad you brought that up. And this person says, my goal in life is to go to the Army and then Special Forces. I'm 22 years old, overweight, out of shape. Do I need to be, or how in shape do I need to be? And what is the best path to achieve my goal? So what I would say is go check out this channel right here called the F&G Academy. They are geared to posting videos on how to be successful in Special Forces and anything Special Forces related. They will help you with achieving the most optimum fitness level that you possibly can to set yourself up for success. Another channel that I would highly recommend too is Gritty Soldier. And if you want to talk to a Special Forces recruiter for their tips and tricks, in this podcast from the Colorado Army National Guard recruiters, one of them is still an operator, so his face is going to be blurred out and his voice slightly altered. They can answer your recruiting related questions to Special Forces. But yes, you're definitely going to want to be in the absolute best possible shape that you're going to be in. So if you're currently not in shape now, work your way to that. Me personally, I would say go infantry or some sort of combat MOS, preferably infantry. And that will definitely help you get physically in shape. And then from there, you can build upon that to get to your absolute best shape. This person says, what is one station unit training? Is that the same thing as AIT? No. So all combat jobs like infantry, field artillery, military police, things of that nature will be done at OSA, one station unit training. And all that means is you're getting the same training with the same drill sergeants and the same group of people or trainees all throughout your basic training experience and job training experience. And your ending graduation is going to be the most meaningful one. Conversely, with a combat support MOS like myself, administration, finance, communication, all that stuff, anything else other than combat, we'll do basic training and then AIT or advanced individual training. So it's going to be typically done in whether it's in the same location or same training base, but it may be two different locations with different instructors. So it won't be with the same people with the same drill sergeants. You'll do your basic training and then move to another location in the same location or another state to complete your job training. And the major difference between the two is when you're in basic training or AIT, if you get recycled or restarted to the beginning, you're going to go to the beginning of the phase or the beginning of the thing that you're in. So for example, let's say you're in the tail end of blue phase. Best case scenario, if you get restarted or recycled, you would go to the beginning of blue phase in a different group. But if you get restarted, you're going to the beginning of basic. And same thing with AIT. So because AIT is black and gold phase. So if you're in gold phase, worst case scenario, you go, or best case scenario, you'll get recycled to the beginning of gold phase. Worst case scenario, the beginning of black phase. Whereas conversely with OSUT, you could be all the way into the black or the gold phase of OSUT. And let's say you're like 2 weeks out from your final graduation. And if they say you're getting restart, you're going all the way to the beginning of basic training. So if it's 22 weeks long and you're in week 20 and you mess up and they want to discipline you because you're not doing what you're supposed to or whatever, they could literally restart you all the way to day 0 of 22 weeks. And that's a hard pill to swallow for some people. So that's a real big difference, if that makes sense. Terrence Adams says, joining the Army at 36, I just finished my medical. Any advice for basic training aspect? Yes, this is what I think you should be aware of as an older person about to go through basic training. And then obviously how to prepare for basic is right here. Age is just a number. You'll be all right. Jonathan Bautista, I will be doing my basic training for holiday block leave for Jackson. I want to go to Guam for my break. Do you have any tips to reduce the travel expenses? I heard the Air Force have the reduced flights. You're not going to be able to use space aid travel while you're in it, TRADOC or initial entry training. So you're going to have to use commercial flights. Later on throughout your career, you can utilize Space A, but unfortunately, you're not going to be able to use Space A as a trainee from basic AIT or OSUT. Sorry about that, but yeah. Facts. I hate it. Eric says, I have several dismissed and expunged cases that happened back in 2007 through 2013. My recruiter is motivated, but said it's not impossible. I've dealt with guys with dismissed and expunged cases before. Yes. I don't like expunged cases because it's word of mouth. And when you don't have the proper documentation to back up what you're saying, it's harder for them to trust what you're saying. So the problem also with expunged records is when they say it's expunged, if it's truly expunged, there won't be a record of it, period. The problem is sometimes certain aspects of your records don't truly get expunged. And if you don't list it, and like, for example, let's say the court purged their records, the police precinct purges their arrest records, but yet in the FBI arrest record system or database shows an arrest on this specific day, but there's no information attached to it because everything else has been expunged. And if you listen to your recruiter and say, well, don't even mention it because it was expunged, and let's say they do their fingerprints, what we call a live scan, and nothing comes up on their end, but if for some reason when DOD does their fingerprint and background investigation, and for whatever reason, maybe they have higher access or whatever, but they find out that there is in fact an arrest date in your record, but there's no information attached to that expunged record that you failed to disclose. Now it looks like a fraudulent enlistment because yes, you were arrested and you did not disclose it and you did not share that it was expunged. So my advice to you is, even though it's expunged, you still need to, at the very least, do a self-admittal and put it on paper so that the Army or the branch of service you're joining is aware of it, and you initiate the proper waiver protocol for that particular thing. And if you happen to have those records, it would be in your best interest to show them and to give it to them because if you do it just by word of mouth, the level of trust is going to be a little bit lower, and it's not going to help your case. It's going to hurt your case by not having the proper documentation. So hopefully that makes sense. If you're worried about deploying, you shouldn't be joining the Army. Well, that's a hard fact. Hard pill to swallow for some people. What I always like to say for people that are really, really adamant about not deploying is like, what you're saying is, and this is even more so, even worse for the applicant when they're like telling me, oh, I want to be in law enforcement because I want to be a state trooper, or I want to be this, but I don't want to deploy and go overseas. So what you're saying is, you're okay with being subjected to being stabbed, beat up, or shot for the next 20 plus years as a police officer, but you're not willing to do the same for your country 1 year at a time, if and when you do get deployed. Cool. And by saying that you want to serve, but you don't want to deploy, is like, hey, I want to do 12 years of schooling to become a surgeon or a doctor, but I don't really want to practice medicine. I just want to get the training and look the part, but I don't actually want to do the job as a doctor. So I agree with you. It just doesn't make sense. Hyperdunk says, what is one of the best things that you've ever done in your career? I would probably say the thing that satisfies me the most is when a particular type of person comes to you that are coming from a royally effed up past, and you motivate them to not allow them to define themselves based on their past, but to define themselves on the actions that they're going to take for their future. I have a few people over the past 20 years that I've enlisted that I am extremely proud of, and watching their growth and the things that they've accomplished because they believed in themselves and they didn't allow their past to deter them from an awesome future. I contracted somebody once, and when I sat down with her, her father was in prison. Her boyfriend at the time was in prison, and I don't recall about her mother because it was so long ago. But she wasn't very helpful at the time, I don't believe. And she didn't have college education and some other things, but she didn't think that she could make it. And I don't know what it is that I saw in her at the time. And I usually don't sell the military to people or utilize sales skills when I sit down with people. But this was one of a few times that I utilized some influential persuasion to get her to believe in herself and to bet on herself. And there's a phrase I say all the time to certain people that, depending on where you're coming from and what have you, I don't care if you're down to your last $2. Always bet on yourself. Fast forward, she has a 4-year degree paid for by the New York Army National Guard. She started her family. She now owns her house. She is married now, and she has her own business, and she's a recruiter for the Army National Guard. I think in Connecticut now, Connecticut or Massachusetts. And I don't know if she's watching this, but I love you, Garcia. You are an amazing individual, a God-fearing individual. You're a phenomenal mother. You are among some of the most hardest working individuals I have ever met, and I am so glad that you double down on this decision to serve. And it's people like her that make it worth it to be a recruiter for this long. Being a recruiter is definitely not easy. Like the name of this podcast, recruiting ain't easy. And it's individuals like her that make my job worth the while. So it's people like her that makes this the best thing as a career as a recruiter. There are other things that I could share, but that is something that came to mind when you asked me that question. So appreciate that. Hi, San Diego. How are you? I see your sarcasm. Thank you for the engagement. Appreciate you. Much love. Gabriel Salgado, I didn't skip you. This is the first time that I saw your name. I'm gonna scroll back up to see if I see it. But like I said in the beginning of the stream, sometimes it doesn't populate in my area, but I am human, so I'm gonna scroll up a little bit, see if I see it. If not, you can always repost it, or you can DM me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ. Sorry, I don't see nothing with your name attached to it, and I just scrolled up all the way up to like 7:30. Sorry, buddy. Please resubmit. How will deployment things work in the Army? What do you mean? How does it work? You go wherever the Army tells you to go. If you could be a little more specific, that'd be great. Appreciate it. Gabriel says, would you be able to read, please? And thank you. Like I said, I have not seen any other previous message with your name on it. Terrence, I believe I addressed it. If you guys are just getting in, I'm like at 8:17 on messages, and it is now 8:56. So I'm behind by a lot, as per usual. But again, if I don't get to you for whatever reason, or if you think I'm skipping you, or maybe it's not showing up in my end, this is my Instagram, Team Swartz. Anybody who knows me, direct message me, I will respond to you. Or you can shoot an email, teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. Kool-Aid, how many jumps do I have to do every year, and do I have to jump in the state? I'm not airborne qualified or in an airborne unit. I'm not privy to the requirements, but I do know you have to jump a few times a year to maintain your jump status. For some reason, 6 times or 6 jumps is sticking out in my mind, but I could be wrong. So you might want to check out somebody who's airborne qualified to be able to let you know, because I personally don't know. And I'm not active or in a state that has airborne as a National Guard. So, Manna, I am working on finding a college that's cheap to do the same thing that Florida State College in Jacksonville was doing. So the reason behind them no longer processing Sophia transfer credits is because apparently recruiters across the country have been falsifying like Photoshop names of people or whatever. And yeah, so because of that fraud, they decided to no longer do it for Sophia. So I am working on finding a more fiscally responsible college to do it without breaking your bank, if that makes sense. So here at least once a week, or I'll try to find something by Monday next week. So look at the pinned comment by Monday next week, and I should find another college by then. So do you go to jail if you don't want to complete training and want to stop midway through? You won't go to training. I mean, you won't go to jail because you stopped training. But if you go AWOL, absent without leave, like try to run away, you'll be arrested, detained, and brought back, and you'll be dealt with from there. Whether or not you do jail time is entirely up to the Army at that time. But yeah, so you could potentially refuse to train, and eventually they will discharge you. Could take a few months, but you'll be discharged. Javier says, just signed as a 25 Bravo information or IT information technology specialist. A week ago, 6 years, I ship in September, California National Guard. I was told I get into OCS after I get back home. How realistic is that? I have a degree. Javier, I'm going to try to see if I can pay attention over here, but help me understand that why you didn't do OCS now. Is there a particular reason why you didn't go straight into OCS right here, right now? But you're gonna need to get a officer to recommend you to go OCS. And it's usually your company commander. So check out that video I just posted about OCS. You said yes, and I wanted to be guaranteed my MOS. So as an officer, we don't have MOSs. So MOS is a specific job, whereas an officer, it's like that overall field in leadership. So a recruiter told me that if I did OCS now and I don't perform top of the class, it would be hard to get 25 Bravo. All right, there's no such thing as 25 Bravo as an officer. Okay, so as an officer, you could branch in communication. And if your degree is in that, they try to put you where your degree is at, but it's not guaranteed. So that's probably what he's talking about. So yes, top 10, 20, or top 20% of the class, as long as you are in the top 20%, they try to give you what you want. And then everyone else is based on the needs of the Army. So that's the gamble. Now, eventually you could work your way into communications as an officer, but if you wanted IT training as an enlisted soldier, then yes, then you need to go 25 Bravo. But if you wanted to commission into signal support, then you would have to be in the top 20% of your class. So there's that. Do you know anyone that works a trade or construction and as in the Guard? Yeah, I know some, are you talking about like outside of the Army? Like they're in a engineering company, but outside of the Army Guard, they're also in construction and stuff. Is that what you mean? Hyper drunk? Or hyper dunk rather? Thanks, Anakin. Appreciate that. Jonathan Baptista says, I will be doing basic training at Fort Jackson and will be doing holiday block leave. For my break, I want to go to Guam. Yeah, I already talked about that. Unfortunately, you cannot use Space Aid travel. You're going to have to go commercial, and whatever those costs are at the time, it is what it is. I'm a recruiter, but I was saying my sister wants to do 68 whiskey and I wanted to do armor, which is usually OSA and Fort Benning. Oh yeah, so you guys won't be together at all, period. Because you're going OSA. If you were doing something that would be basic training AIT, then it could be very well possible that you would do basic together. Skip day is in 39 days and I'm overweight by 8 pounds. Check out this video, but you could lose 8 pounds in 39 days easily. You could probably lose in 1 week. But check out this video. Robinson says, what is the best electrical job in your opinion? Does all maintenance jobs have their workers work long hours? So I'm not active duty, and I was in an engineering company as a crane operator part-time 1 week in a month, but there's only one electrician, and I think that's, well, Romeo off the top of my head. Like if you want to do like actual interior electrician, that's the only MOS that we have that does that. 12 Romeo, I believe it is. Prior service, less than 3 months out. I have been charged with domestic. The state dropped the charges, but I was still arrested and booked. Will they approve my waiver? All right. So when it comes to domestic violence, we have zero tolerance for domestic violence. So if you were living with somebody and they were your significant other, whether married or not, cohabitant, and you guys were sexually involved, at least at that time, then unless it was determined that you in fact did not commit the crime, no waiver authorized, regardless if it was dismissed. So as a civilian, you can go and be a police officer, and because it was dismissed, you're good to go. But in the eyes of the military, because of the intricacies of domestic violence and the fact that most, if not all cases that are dismissed for domestic violence is because the accuser, basically the accuser and the plaintiff, they kiss and make up, and the person who called the cops decides, I'm just not going to show up to court. And because of that, they dismissed the case. So it wasn't proven that you did not, in fact, commit the crime. So if you fall into the category where you were sexually involved and living with the person and they were your significant other, unless you have proof in the court minutes, the curator that types up everything that goes before the judge during your court case, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Got chapter 11. Not sure what you're saying there, but you're asking if you can rejoin the National Guard. It really depends on the reason why you were discharged. So we want to know the type of discharge, meaning like, was it honorable discharge, other than honorable discharge, dishonorable discharge, general discharge, uncharacterized discharge, the SPD code, the RE code, and the narrative reason for separation. As long as those things are waiverable, then you're good. You can apply for a waiver as long as it's past that minimum waiting period before you can reapply. And your name sounds familiar, Luis Martinez. Have we spoke before, like in person in New York City? Ian, thanks for the stream, boss. Keeps me motivated. Listen, appreciate you. Thank you. Lewis, you will most likely, hang on. Lewis, you will most likely need a waiver. Oh, yes, for the other guy, but it will be hard because of the security clearance. Red Cat says, what does the average day on Bravo look like? Gotcha. Is the 20-year pension? As long as you do 20 years, yes, you'll get a pension. So I have the traditional retirement plans where I'm guaranteed 50% of my base pay at the time that I retire. Whereas now with the new blended retirement system, you're guaranteed 40%. And then whatever you invest into the blended retirement pension 401k like thing in the thrift savings plan, the Army will match up to 5%. So that's where you'll get the other 10% or more depending on your investment in that way. In my opinion, that is a way for the government to save money, because most people want money now and they won't invest, and yeah, they save 10%. But yeah, it's still a thing. Yes. I remember watching you before joining the Army 4 years ago, and now I'm out. Glad to see you're still helping the other people out. Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. I love what I do. Can I maybe still get a recruitment bonus or like a ribbon or not? And I don't recall. Did you already sign your contract? Because if you're going guard, it's going to be MOS specific, and the unit can't be at 100%, and it's got to be a certain tier level to be bonus eligible. So in general, for bonuses, most of the time they want you to score a 50 or better in the ASVAB. Not always. For guard it is, but in general, it's going to be MOS specific, unit specific. Other things will factor into it, like length of contract, duty station, things like that, if you're going active duty. I remember my job counselor telling me that the other 50% of the enlistment bonus to only use it in emergency. Why? I don't know why they told you that, but it's your money. Do whatever you want with it. If you're smart, you would invest it, but it's up to you. You do what your rank can handle. All right, so with that being said, Josh Caraballo, go to, well, if you're in New York City, hit me up, Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ, but go to 1-800-GO-GUARD, call them up, or go to nationalguard.com, and they will get you in contact with the recruiter nearest you. Again, I am right here if you want to say, hi, what's up? And go through me in New York City or New York, I got you. But everybody else, 1-800-GO-GUARD on the phone or nationalguard.com. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And I will see you all next week. Stay blessed. Be good.